After an uneasy start, the Bradley has now become the state-of-the-art modern technological infantry fighting vehicle and is on the U.S. Army's books for the foreseeable future. So in our Matrix rating, it scores high on both service length and mobility. Carrying capability and innovation are high as well. With over 7,000 built, the production rating is good as well. So the Bradley rightly earns the number 2 spot of our top 10 infantry fighting vehicles. But before we see what is the number 1 ranked fighting vehicle of all time, let's quickly review the others on the list. In at number 10, the high mobility vehicle that more than lives up to its reputation, the Humvee. At the number 9 spot, the amphibian that helped win the war in the Pacific, the LBT-4. Number 8 brings us the U.S. Army's icon of World War II, the M3. In at number 7, the oldest in our list, but the unsung hero of World War II, the Universal Carrier. Number 6 brings the Soviet infantry fighting vehicle that scared all others, the BMP-1. Coming in at number 5, the vehicle that was the backbone of the Nazi blitzkrieg land invasion of Europe, the Hanomag 251. Number 4, the newest recruit in the U.S. Army, but one that has already had whole brigades built around it, the Stryker. In at number 3, a fighting vehicle that more than lives up to its name, the MCV-80 Warrior. Number 2, a vehicle that had to reinvent itself before it became one of the finest in the world, the M2 Bradley. So, to the fighting vehicle that our Matrix has ranked as the number 1 of all time, an infantry fighting vehicle that, throughout its history, is simply the best of the best.
M113 Armored Personnel Carrier. Manufacturer, United Defense LP. Power plant, Detroit 212 horsepower diesel engine. Maximum speed, 42 miles per hour. Carrying capacity, 2 crew and 10 troops. Armor, 1.73 inches. Armament, 1.50 caliber machine gun. Range, 300 miles.
After World War II had shown the need for an armored personnel carrier for infantry, it became obvious that a fully tracked, highly mobile, amphibious, and air transportable vehicle was needed. The M113 answered all these requirements, and in 1960, it entered service with the U.S. Army.
It's an armored box with treads, and so there's a lot of space that you can fill up for everything from an ambulance to an infantry vehicle to a mortar carrier to command and control, nuclear biological detection, whatever you want to use it for.
Armed with a 50 caliber machine gun, the M113 was soon thrown into the Vietnam War. But with the escalation of that conflict, some serious problems in its aluminum armor began to show.
M113 is designed to protect infantry from small arms while they're getting to and from the place where they're meant to fight. M113 is, for lightness, armored in aluminum, which means that you can protect yourself against up to 7.62 millimeter Soviet rounds, and that's about it. If you fire an RPG round at aluminum armor, you create a jet of essentially burning poison that shoots into the compartment and kills everybody inside.
But as the world was learning to fight the M113, with strengthened armor, continual upgrades and refinements, our number 1 was fighting back.
A later development was the so-called ACAV, or air cavalry version, when a rounded turret structure was constructed over the commander's cupola and a 50 caliber machine gun was mounted in it. And generally it wouldn't contain any soldiers except for those on top firing the weapon. And in that role, it very much succeeded.
And succeed it did. For over 4 decades, the M113 has been at the forefront of the U.S. Armed Services and has seen combat wherever it's needed, including the Middle East, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Beside its basic personnel carrier role, the M113 has also been used as a mortar carrier, command control, anti-aircraft, and flamethrower vehicle. It also has been adapted to carry the Lance and Chaparral missiles. With over 80,000 built and exports to nearly 50 countries, nothing is too much for this fighting vehicle.
If you look at the world distribution of armed personnel carriers in the post-war era, you can hardly find a country in the Western world that doesn't have M113s. So much so, in fact, that second-hand M113s are still as popular today as they were, 40 years ago when the vehicle first came into service.
In spite of the introduction of more modern specialized infantry vehicles like the Bradley IFV and the Humvee, the M113 is still going strong and will probably be one of the most widely used armored vehicles ever built.
It probably will last it several decades further, and if you can say I've got a vehicle that will last, has lasted and will last somewhere in the order of 75 or 80 years, that puts it on, I think, anybody's list.
So how does our Matrix score the M113? With over 40 years on the front line, service length, excellent. 80,000 built, production rating, outstanding. Innovation, high. With the ability to take its 10 troops into harm's way, the carrying capability is marked high, as is its all